Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Mahalia Joseph, and C News is live at noon.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed with sport.
Topping the news at this time, following a spate of murders in the country over the last few days, the country has been calling on the government to answer questions as to their plans to make the country safe again. Over the weekend, it was reported that the Prime Minister and several other cabinet ministers were at different parties. This prompted the president of the Public Service Association and minority leader in the Tobago House of Assembly, Watson Duke, to say there should be no partying until the crime situation is dealt with.
Minister is coming out of Bishop's Fete. What is that? The nation is paralyzed by fear, and our Prime Minister is all dressed and is going to fetes after fete after fete after fete. There should be no partying by any minister of government until the nation could live a free life, a life that is without interference, a life that is without condition, and they can now enjoy the freedom our Constitution have always spoken of.
A penal businessman has been shot and killed. He has been identified as Lyndon Collins. Reports say he was killed at around 6 p.m. on Sunday in Maruga. He owned two cell phone stores, one in Shogunas and the other in South. This was the fourth reported murder over the weekend. Minority leader in the Tobago House of Assembly, Watson Duke, is calling for community comfort patrols to return to Tobago. This after there was an increase in crime over the weekend, just days after the newly sworn-in Chief Secretary said he has no crime plan.
For the Parliament and be dealt with appropriately, we need to have community police in Tobago as a matter of urgency, and to add as a buffer, to add as a complement to the community police, we are asking for the restoration, the full restoration of community comfort patrols. They ought to be working hand in hand with the police to ensure that as a deterrent, crime is on the decrease and criminals are staved off.
A fiery protest this morning in the Vega de Oropouche area was carried out by residents who say they have been given notices to go to court. According to the residents, the government intends to take back the land they have been living on for several years. One resident told us this move is unfair as they have no access to lights and water. She said the notices were given on Thursday and Friday last week, and the residents are expected to appear in court on Wednesday.
Currently, I believe owned by forestry because they have it slated as a forest reserve, right? But, obviously they haven't been reserving the forest because these people have been here a very long time.
So far, only about 20 people have been given notices, but more is expected to be handed out.
What the clerk of the court is reporting that there are about 300 notices to given out. And I believe that it's a similar issue as something that's going on in Matura with some squatters up there. And they joined the court cases, so all the cases would be for the first.
You're watching the C News Live Report at noon. Remember, you can keep up to date with all the latest news on our website at ctvtt.com, or you can check out our Facebook and Twitter pages at C News Live. While members of the public have expressed their dissatisfaction with statements made by MSNBC correspondent Malcolm Nance that this country has more terrorists than those banned by the United States, the government is yet to make a formal statement on the matter. C News tried to contact several government ministers, including the Attorney General and Minister of National Security. However, calls went unanswered. Last week, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order on immigration, which sought to ban citizens from 7 countries from entering the country for the next 90 days. He also suspended admission of all refugees for 120 days.
7 Muslim-majority nations that have been essentially banned by Trump's executive order. There it is: Iraq, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Syria, or Yemen. Malcolm, what struck us, the producers here at AM Joy and myself about this, was that none of those countries have produced their citizens who have been terrorists linked to attacks on Americans, and yet countries like Saudi Arabia are not on that list. Can you make sense of that?
No, I can't make sense of any of this. This is just playing into the hands of ISIS. I said before, this is going to be the salvation of ISIS. Now, let me put a personal touch on this, because of all those countries that you put there that Trump has commercial ties to, who have sent terrorists to the United States at some point. We haven't banned terrorists from Brazil. ISIS has dozens of members from Brazil, or Trinidad, or the Bahamas, who have more terrorist members than any of those other countries.
Last year, several Trinidadians were featured in a recruitment propaganda video encouraging people to join the Islamic State. The Bahamas Foreign Ministry replied to the report, calling it rubbish, and Nance has since retracted his comment regarding the Bahamas. Today marks 8 years since the collapse of CLICO in this country, and according to advocate for the CLICO policyholders group, Peter Pamel, nothing has taken place to say this matter would be resolved soon.
In 2009, it was announced the Trinidad and Tobago government would bail out CL Financial, the parent company of CLICO. However, after 8 years, there seems to be no resolution, something which is of concern to the policyholders. Peter Pramel, advocate for the policyholders group, on Monday told us, since its collapse, many people who invested in the company have died without having an opportunity to get what was rightfully theirs. But on the bright side, if the matter is resolved, their beneficiaries will have something to hold on to.
If you pass, then whatever funds you have goes to your beneficiary. If you don't have a beneficiary, then it goes to your estate. In a lot of the instances that I'm aware of, those persons had beneficiaries, and it would be either their relatives or their loved ones, you know, and they would have gotten. But the point is that they didn't make it, and that is what is so troubling to me. Because this thing started in 2009, and as far as I'm concerned, it should have been resolved by at least 2010.
While there may be no resolution in sight, in 2011, the People's Partnership government made an offer.
That is the offer of zero-interest bonds plus CLICO investment fund units. Those persons have gotten, I would say, roughly maybe about 80–85% of their money. There's another group who would have taken legal action, and they refused to accept the offer, and they would have gotten 100%. We're talking about the principal, 100% of the principal, plus all the accrued interest. So they got the contractual terms and conditions of their policies, and we're really happy for them, and they have now come out of the picture, so to speak. But they are those policyholders who I represent, and somehow I don't, but all part of that large group called the assenting policyholders. They are the ones who have not gotten the balance of their money.
Mr. Pramel questioned why members of the group are not being paid when it is understood that the statutory fund is fully funded. He said he thought by now the policyholders would have been paid. He reiterated the money to be paid will not come from the government but from the company itself.
The government, as a matter of fact, the CLICO is going to be, the government is going to benefit from CLICO, the sale of some of those assets, because as you know, there's a big hole, a big deficit in this year, and therefore there are certain assets that have already been identified to be sold, and the proceeds from those assets are going to actually help to balance the budget of 2017, you follow? And therefore, one of the things that is going on right now, apparently, based on media reports, is some negotiations that are being entered into between the former executive chairman of CLICO, Mr. Lawrence Dupree, and other shareholders, and the government with respect to getting back the company.
Under the People's Partnership government, a commission of inquiry into CLICO was launched. Rishi Harinanan, CNews.
Now for a look at the weather forecast. Generally dry and breezy conditions will persist. However, there is a 10% chance of brief showers in a few areas. Sea bathers and persons with marine interests are advised to exercise caution. There is a new National Panorama Single Pan champion in 2017. Newtown Playboys Steel Symphony continued its winning streak to take the top position at the end of the competition in Arima last night.
Playing Austin Lions Get Something and Wave, the Newtown-based band, under the batter of Callan Harewood, impressed the adjudication panel to cop the top spot, scoring a total of 292 points. In second place was San Juan All-Stars with 289 points. for its performance of Johnny, while Woodbrook Playboys came in third with 287 points for its arrangement of Total Disorder. The grand final saw a total of 21 bands at the Arima basketball court in Arima. Among the attendees, Minister of Community Development, Culture and the Arts, Dr. Nian Gadsby Dolly, the Member of Parliament for Dabri Omera, Mr. Ansel Antwine, and Her Worship, Miss Lisa Morris-Julian, Mayor of Arima. Some of the other results: in fourth place was Panjamas, the TNT Defence Force came fifth, Shades of Steel came sixth, and there was a tie for seventh and ninth position. Rishi Harinanan, C News.
KI will defend the Chutney Soka Monarch crown against the 9 men in the finals of the 2017 competition. The names were announced this morning following the semi-finals on Saturday night. The men who made it through are Michael Ramruk, aka Showtime, Ravi B, Rick Ramuta, Ricky Jai, Nishad Meru, Umadath Miraj, Ruplal G, Lal Chan Babwa, aka Hunter, and Shivan and Slammer Cutter. Veteran saxophonist and renowned author Dr. Roy Francis Cape has expressed great pleasure at the historic musical collaboration between soca ambassadors Marshall Montano and Ian Bungie Garland Alvarez. The local music industry has been abuzz with the surprise release of the duo's groovy single entitled Bushead. In a release, Papi, as he is affectionately known, says, "I think it is something fantastic, really a proud moment for the soca movement. This makes me feel good. I'm thrilled." Dr. Cape, who was diagnosed with cancer in 2014, went on to say, after 57 years of being a musician, "It's fantastic that I would actually live to see this moment. They have been kind of apart for some time, so for them to do a collaboration, it would have to mean that things have gotten better personally and professionally. There had to be a mutual feeling of respect there." Papi says the song is a great message of healing, and it is a call to action for everyone responsible for pushing our culture forward and upward. And we now have Nasira Mohammed with the Sport Report. Nasira, I know there's some big news coming out of the TTFA.
Definitely. It's been announced that Saul Campbell will join Dennis Lawrence at the technical committee staff for the senior men's football team. And the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association held a press conference a short while ago to formally introduce Dennis Lawrence as the new head coach of the senior men's team. My C Sports colleague Ken Fuentes joins me on the phone line now with the details. Good afternoon, Kent.
Good afternoon, Sierra. Good afternoon, listeners and viewers.
Can you tell us a little bit what was revealed by the TTFA?
Oh, that was revealed. Dennis Lawrence was officially presented as the new national men's team head coach, and he made several statements, one of which is that he will definitely be looking to work with everyone, including the media. Key thing he said about the media is that he would be working with the media and not through the media. He also stated his plans for the players, some of which include talking to a lot of the players and ensuring that the Trinidad and Tobago public falls back in love with this national team.
Well, Kent, it was also revealed that Saul Campbell will be a part of Dennis Lawrence's team. Tell us a little bit in what aspect and how was that announced?
It was announced actually by the TTFA President David John Williams. Saul Campbell, of course, is an English international with 73 caps to his name. He played with one of the best football teams, the Arsenal Invincibles. Also, he represented Tottenham as well. That too, it shows that the intent in terms of getting the team very well prepared. I mean, both men come with experience at coaching at the highest level. Also, another key announcement was that the head of the famous technical committee and also two members of that technical committee that was charged with appointing a new national team coach resigned or stepped down from their post, as the case may be.
Well, Kent, any justification why it was Saul given that position?
Well, no justification was given, but I guess based on his level of experience, let's be real, Saul Campbell is one of the most famous names to come out of English football. He has the level of experience, and I think one of the key areas for us has been our defense, and he's a very well-experienced defender, along with Dennis Lawrence, of course, who we know represented Trinidad and Tobago as a defender. I think their knowledge of defending and playing at the highest level will add some stability in that area for Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Kent, and do join us tonight on the 7 p.m. newscast with C Sports, where we'll have full details of that press conference from earlier today. And moving on to news of the Trinidad and Tobago Marathon, 2 second-place finishes for local runners in the 35th edition. As we hear from Ruskin Mark, Curtis Koch in his last local marathon, and Tonya Nero in her first TNT marathon, both finished second in their respective categories, behind foreign competitors who took the top spots.
The race, the trend was set as this group of front runners separated from the rest, with Curtis Cox in the mix and leading them into Chaguanas. A similar thing among the ladies, as the defending champion Leah Kagan had company, as Maria Ko, who was ineligible because of a suspension, stayed the course. But looking not too far behind was TNT's main hope in Tonya Nero. And when the darkness was lifted and gave way to brilliant sunshine, Cox was still pushing the pace, hoping to burn off a couple of the contenders in the lead bunch. But Peter Kembui and Jose Alejandro Velasco were within striking distance, keeping tabs on him in the Caroni area. Errol Baldhead Williams was also running a smart race, inching up all the time. Not much had changed with the ladies, as they too held their positions approaching the halfway point. But in the end, Velasco would catch and pass Cox to complete the victory in a time of 2 hours, 37 minutes and 51 seconds. Cox, running his last TNT marathon, would finish a creditable second in 2:41.43.
Yeah, I feel good. I wanted to win the race because this is my last Trinidad marathon. So I trained to win the race, but what happened, I ran on Twitter 10K last weekend, and I injured my right Achilles tendon. And I sit whole week, but it was still hurting me this morning. I tried to push the pace, but I couldn't really hold the latter half of the race. I tried the earlies, the first half of the race. I tried to run like 5:30 pace, but I ended up running like 6-minute pace. And then the guy who won, he was running like second half in like 5:40 pace. And I couldn't keep up with him. But he ran good. The better man won on the day.
Peter Kembui trailed in third nearly 5 minutes later and looked spent, while another local in Colin Pereira finished a creditable fourth in a time of 2:47.20, with Williams trailing in fifth in 2:55.44. There was a bit of confusion among the women, as Maria Ko crossed the line first, but was not the winner on this day, as that honor went to Kagan, who repeated as champion with a 2:54.46 clock-in. Nero finished second in her first TNT marathon experience, stopping the clock at 2:56.33, while Christine Regis filled third in 3:26.10.
I'm satisfied with it. I started off with 7 minutes per mile pace, and I was able to hold it for a good while, up to about 19 miles, and from there I tried to push it a little bit. By mile 22, I was really tired, but I pushed on until the end. I made 2 hours and 56 minutes.
Like Cox, her next major outing is the NACAC Championships in Florida. Ruskin Mark, C Sports.
Well, leaving Tonya Nero on the streets, now we'd head to football field and call her a trailblazer, as national senior women's football team goalkeeper Kamika Forbes has secured a new deal with Colombian top-flight football club Independiente Santa Fe, the 9-time national champions. And that was his sport for today.
Returning to some local carnival news now, reigning Calypso monarch Devon Seals sent a warning to those aiming for his title on Saturday evening when Calypso Review opened its doors in Port of Spain. Devon Seals was just one among a cast of Calypsonians who impressed on the opening night at the SWWTU Hall. Lots of excitement there, but we'll have to leave it there for now. That's all we have for today. I'm Mahalia Joseph.
And I'm Nasira Mohammed.
Remember, for up-to-date and breaking news throughout the day, visit the C News website at ctvtt.com. Have a good afternoon.